Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good evening. It is GetVocal.com. It's the semifinals of the World Cup here in 2018. We're very excited to be sharing our thoughts with you. It's Rob Unger, the sports guru, joined by another sports guru, Dick Starr, the one and only. Gentlemen, I got to start out by wishing you a happy 4th of July. How was your 4th of July, Rob?
Happy 4th of July to you, Armando, or what you might know as Cuatro de Julio. Spent in the Midwestern United States, Denver, Colorado, watched some fireworks, had some adult beverages. It was quite a time. Lovely city. If you haven't been, I would highly recommend it. Most days of sunshine of any city in the U.S., so shout out to Denver. But it was lovely. Thank you for asking.
I am very excited. D Star, did you see some fireworks on 4th of July? How's your Cuatro de Julio weekend in Spanish, en español?
It was pretty good, Armando. Actually, I made a little bit more fireworks than I did view, if you know what I mean.
I know.
Oh, no, I mean, it was a pretty calm and serene time spent with some family. There were some late night fireworks, but, those aren't just safe for 4th of July. Those are evergreen.
I myself go down to Rosarito, get some fireworks over there, but that's another story for another time, gentlemen. Let's get into what's on our minds, the semifinals of the 2018 World Cup. Tomorrow, gentlemen, we begin with a great France versus Belgium. Rob, what are your thoughts? Who do you have in that great bout?
Like you said, it should be a fantastic bout. I was really impressed with France winning a game against Uruguay. That was kind of an ugly, grinded out kind of game. A little bit different than the way that they had just dispatched with Argentina with their offensive firepower. As much as I love that they can win games in multiple ways, I really like Belgium in this matchup. The ways that they can score. The last couple games, the way that they've shown that they can turn defense into offense so quickly is really impressive. I think France is going to have a hard time handling that. I think anybody has a hard time handling that. It's why I like Belgium to win the whole thing at this point. But I like Belgium tomorrow.
Star, I know right now we are looking at two of the greatest goal scorers for France is Antoine Griezmann and Kylian Mbappé. What are your thoughts on the French team? Can they beat Belgium?
I think it's going to take a lot. I think that Belgium's a little bit too physical. I think that Belgium's a little bit too balanced. I think you're going to see a lot of familiarity come to play. A lot of these guys are teammates, playing the same league. Almost exclusively, everybody does. It's going to be hard, Armando. I think that France is going to have to strike early and make Belgium play from behind and kind of play the same type of game they played against Japan for 80 minutes versus just, the last 25. I still am holding true. I had Belgium winning it all from the very beginning. Something just told me that they would, if they got by through the group in first, that they would probably beat Brazil, presumably that they would have gotten there. So I'm not going to jump off the wagon now. But I do think France has a ton of talent and a ton of scoring. Guys like Pogba have to come out and play a really good game in order for them to win.
That's right. Blaise Matuidi will be back after having been suspended and receiving second yellow. And on the Belgian side, we're going to see Thomas Müller out of the game. So it's going to be interesting to see that. Interesting fact, gentlemen, let me know if this factors into anything. Belgium is the leading goal scorer of this tournament right now with 14 goals. France has about 9 goals scored in the tournament. Is that indicative to you of anything, Rob?
I think it is a little bit indicative of Belgium's overwhelming firepower. I mean, they're an incredibly talented group, and De Bruyne and Lukaku, even Fellaini coming in and is so dangerous in the air. I do think that it is a little indicative of the atrocious group that Belgium was in outside of England. When you talk about Tunisia and Panama, I believe it was, that's two teams where you can score goals in bunches if you choose to, if you decide to put your full effort forth, and it seemed that Belgium did. So while I think that number of goals is impressive, it's a little bit inflated on that group stage.
That is a good point. And let's look back at France's group as well, because they were in a very interesting team. They were in the group of Argentina, if I'm not mistaken, Group C. Or no, it was in Argentina. It may have been. I know it's Group C. It may have been a different.
Yeah, Argentina was not a part of that group,
but they did face them in the round of 16.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I didn't think honestly that France looked especially impressive in their group. They had some close wins, but like I said before, I think since then they've come out and in their round of 16, shown some really impressive offensive power and just dispatching with Argentina. And then in the Uruguay game, just grinding one out, showing you that they can win in multiple ways, which is, anybody who's going to win the World Cup is going to have to win games in different ways. And France has done that. So I don't count them out, but I don't expect them to go through.
Do you think, D-Star, by the way, that Belgium is a little bit different tactically speaking? Are we looking at two different teams with two different set of tactics? Or what do you think of just in terms of their potentially even starting lineup that they're going to come out with tomorrow?
Well, with an injury to Tomas, that's big, and another guy that PSG player, so very good, probably good for the big stage. What I'm looking to is not so much the style, because I think both teams are going to play the game they want to play. The match is going to go how it might. Is Mbappe, can he play on the big stage? This is the first big game he's probably played in his life where he needs to score tomorrow, I think, for them to win. I think they need to score early, and I think they need to score at least 2 or 3 goals to beat Belgium, because I just think that Hazard's not going to give the ball up. I think Kompany, they have a lot of talent on the Belgian side, and I think I was actually watching an interview with Henry, and he's assistant coach now for Belgium, and he's speaking of we know them just as well as they know us. Tactically, it's just going to be who can execute better for 90 minutes, and I wouldn't be shocked if this game goes in extras as well and goes to penalties like every other damn game has at this point. But I keep coming back to Belgium 8 years ago looked pretty good. Belgium 4 years ago looked really great. In Euros, they kind of just are up and down, but this is probably their last real. This team they have here, I think, is a team that can, if they get to the finals, can push through with that other side breaking the way it looks like it is. So I can't see any other way but them getting a win tomorrow.
I'm with you, gentlemen. Very tough to predict this France-Belgium. I do think that the spirit of Antoine Griezmann might have a slight edge over just the Lukaku's and Fellaini's spirit, just in terms of spirit, but it's very evenly matched. Tough to say. I would like to say a little bit more of Giroud. I think we haven't seen enough of him. What do you think, Rob? Has he shown up at all in this World Cup? I mean, phenomenal player with Arsenal, now with Chelsea. He's a big star.
I'm sorry, you haven't seen enough of who?
Olivier Giroud. Olivier Giroud for France?
Yeah, right. No, I mean, I am surprised that we haven't seen much, and I think that his being more involved tomorrow could be a big factor. And I have to say that I tend to agree with Dick Star that I think that if it's going to be a high scoring game, that I think that high scoring game, low scoring game, I think that Belgium takes it.
That's a good call. It was very competitive. Gentlemen, let's move on really quickly to Wednesday's game. We got a little bit of England-Croatia game. The Croatians coming off that very intense game against Russia where we saw some incredible goals from both sides, really, all defined by penalties in the last minutes there. What are our thoughts for Wednesday's games? Rob?
Oh, very excited for Wednesday's games. I will say I was a little bit disappointed to see the host Russians go out. Always root for the host nation, always root for the underdogs. After seeing that first goal, I forget who struck it, but it was really a wonder strike. It had the Russian doping program is still alive and well. We can speculate until the end of the day about whether that's true, but really I just have to say I was impressed with the Russians' performance, especially when they went down 2-1 in extra time and were able to come back and get another goal. That being said, Croatia, valiant effort, fought through. Luka Modric and his guys, very impressive. I just get the feeling that England is kind of on that team of destiny level. I don't know. So I kind of have the feeling that England's going to go through, but no real tactical as to why that is.
It is another tough one. These Star thoughts on that phenomenal bout. I mean, let's just remember, by the way, that this is Croatia. It was the second time that their game ended in penalties. They went to penalties against Denmark in the round of 16, then in the quarterfinals. Could we go see penalties again, D-Star?
Maybe it's possible. I think England will probably prevail just based on attrition. A lot of injuries for the Croatian side, and who knows if these guys will be playing at full speed. Good thing they're not playing till Wednesday. But with the humidity over, that's a problem, right? The athletes with muscles and fast twitch, and I don't know how this is going to play out for them. I think if they win, it's going to be a really tight game. I think they're lucky that they're on this side, not playing France or Belgium. They probably get absolutely boat raced. On the Russian side, it was just incredible to see them continue to almost move on. They were a handball from Piqué that got them into the 8, and then almost that ridiculous goal. I forgot what his name was. It wasn't Fernandes. Fernandes scored the second goal, but
Yeah.
That first goal that would literally split two defenders, and I didn't even see the ball go into the net. I was so shocked. If you made me bet with money, I'm betting England. If I'm rooting with my heart, I want Croatia. I want to see a very strange Belgian-Croatian final, something a little bit atypical. A France-England final would just seem too manufactured to me. Be watching like Premier League soccer, which I typically tune out of, so it's just not something I'd really be interested in.
So you think these are for the final? We may see England versus France, is what you for the ultimate final here.
If I'm betting, England's coming out of that side of the bracket, and I'm going to take Belgium coming out of the we'll just call it the West East. But if it's England France, I'll be a little bit disappointed just because it's basically like Yankees Dodgers or Lakers Celtics. Just like what did we play the whole season for? Historically, it's just too much pedigree there.
Gentlemen, I got to bring up these gentlemen. Pickford for England, of course, the goalkeepers. How important is goalkeeping? I mean, Courtois has been doing extremely well for Belgium. It looks like they've been playing an essential role. Rob, what are your thoughts on just how the importance of the goalkeepers in tomorrow's semifinals games and Wednesday?
Yes. Well, first, before I answer that question, let me just say shout out to the World War I and World War II allies for getting this far. As you can see, we have England, we have Belgium, we have France, still holding it down for almost a century now, whereas Germany, Italy, Japan, these teams in the axis of evil have been dispatched. So I say good for democracy. But as for the goalkeeping, it's going to be huge. We've had so many games go into PKs. We've had a record number of PKs even prior to end-of-game PK situations. So goalkeeping is going to be huge. As for who has the advantage, it's really hard to say just because when it gets to a PK situation, even some of the best goalkeepers in the world don't necessarily perform the best. It tends to really be a guessing game. So I don't know who I would put the odds on in that situation. I mean, I would have thought that Russia would have had a better chance in this last game, given that to sustain a hamstring injury towards the end of regular time. But obviously that didn't bother him during the PKs. So goalkeeping, I think it's a wash, and it's going to come down to the big playmakers.
Mm-hmm. D-Star, what does this say about football, by the way? And Rob brings up a great point, running out of time here, but all four teams are European finalists. Does that mean that Europe is better in soccer? What does it mean to you that the four finalists are from Europe?
I just think that these teams play more as a team. I think if you look at, they don't have one guy. Obviously England's got they got Kane, and Belgium's got a list of players, but they all play together, they play cohesively. It's not one-on-one. It's not flashy. It's ugly soccer, and that's what's got them here. In terms of goalies, I'm going to say Pickford. He's showing me a lot of LDE, so I don't think that guy's going to have much. But Mandzukic from Croatia, if that guy can come and win and get to a final with all those problems he's been having and having to go through 2 penalties to get here, all the more to him.
Gentlemen, where are we going to be watching tomorrow and Wednesday? Just home at a restaurant, bar? Rob?
I will be at home having a nice cup of Earl Grey tea.
Ooh, D-Star.
I'll be at the local club. You might know Armando Ventura. It's known as Exposed.
Oh, shoot. Gentlemen, a real pleasure. This is Get Vocal. Join us in a group chat right after.